Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Again, this is Dr. Soul Brother coming to you with a remedy to help cure your ills. I want to touch upon a very important subject matter, and this is something I was actually thinking about before, but since this recent controversy, which shouldn't be one, but controversy regarding Beyonce on the cover of her albums or CD or whatever, with her repping the American flag, I think it's necessary and important for me to address that. And I'll segue into an area again that I had planned to discuss anyway, and that is America our country? Um, First of all, if you look at the fact that there was some controversy with her recording of this country western song, which shouldn't be no controversy because in the first place, country western comes out of the black culture. Let's be clear. White folks didn't start country music. That comes out of our culture, and country music, in many ways, is a kissing cousin to the blues. But I'm not going to delve too deep into that because that's a conversation for another day. Okay, and I think that might do something on that down the road. But moving on, um, this thing with her on the horse with the American flag, I have no problem with that. She's an American, born and raised, have roots here. Why shouldn't she rep the American flag? Now it appears that Beyonce has morphed some because you look at how she went from this Wakanda image to American uh, identity. Um, and so the thing is this. Let me address real quick the song "This Is My Country" by The Impressions. And if anybody has heard that or has not heard it, I would strongly suggest that you look it up on YouTube. It was recorded by The Impressions in 1968. And the thing is this, when you really, really think about it and listen to the lyrical content of that song, um, it is affirming our nationality and our ethnicity. The lyrics go something like this: some people think we don't have the right to say it's my country. Before they give in, they'd rather fuss and fight, then say it's my country. I've paid 300 years or more of slave driving sweat and welts on my back. This is my country. And it goes on. But that's a powerful song. Powerful. Again, that song by the Impressions in 1968 affirms our nationality and our ethnicity. And this is my angst, if you will. I've discovered on this journey that there are people who are supposed to be learned and all the rest of it, and there's confusion regarding nationality and ethnicity, and in some cases, even racial identity. First, yours truly is a black man, born and raised in America, with roots here. I'm an American, and I'm an African American. Now, I know some people in recent times want to give pushback to African American and all, okay, you do what you know. But the fact of the matter is, the definition means an American born person of African origin, which is where you had before African American, it was Afro short for African origin. But moving along, um, when you make comments about this is not my country, I don't, some of us don't want roots here, et cetera, et cetera. This is not my, the flag doesn't represent me. It's not my flag. It's not my country, et cetera. Um, Do you understand that racist white folks have always said that America means white? Think about that. And not only that, they have always told us from way back when, go back to Africa. Now, mind you, they're saying that to people who were born and raised here. And they know this. They know they weren't talking to black folks who moved here from different parts of Africa. They were talking to American born black folks with roots here, but they didn't care. And implicit in that is what? Go back to Africa. Implicit is you're not from here. That's what's implicit in that. So, to you, black folk of the conscious community, I got to talk to y'all who want to say, we need to go back to Africa. What you're doing, you are exploiting an already bad situation. By that, I mean you are pointing out or highlighting those negative things like the ills of society here in America. And what you're doing, you are saying, well, you're basically checking out. That's essentially what you're doing. You're checking out, which is exactly what these bastards want us to do. Well, um, so when you say this is not my flag, doesn't represent me, it's not my country, I'm not an American. I've said this before and I say again. The white folks laying in the cut saying, yes. They hear him say, this is not my nationality. Yes. This is not my flag. Yes. That's exactly what these bastards want you to do. So if you come along saying, look here, white man, or look here, white folks, this is not my country. You can have America. Uh, and or if you acknowledge that you are a citizen here, and you talking about giving up your American citizenship and all that kind of craziness, and then you walk off and you're like, I told them, no, you didn't. What you did, you showed them how you checked out and you have yielded to them. Yielded. Well, you can do what you want to do. Yours truly ain't yielding to nobody. Let me be real clear about that. Real clear. Um, and I don't believe in just yielding to these folks. I am not about to let these bastards win. Some of the influence regarding repatriation and all that, and comes from Rastafari with repatriation rather, to Africa. Now, I've said this before, but Rastafarianism does not fit within a United States context, and it certainly does not fit within the black community, black American community. It doesn't. It wasn't necessary, and this is no disrespect. I'm just saying it doesn't fit here. It may fit in the Caribbean, but it doesn't fit here. It's not necessary. But let me move on with that, or beyond that. Um, the conscious community has helped to damage us in ways that I don't think we fully comprehend. When you say that this is not our country, not my flag, I'm not an American, again, you're in concert with racist white folks. And for too long now, for way too long, we as black folks in America have been shamed and guilted as it relates to our American identity. That needs to come to a screeching halt. I urge you, borderline, demand, command that to end. Okay? Um, the so-called conscious community has been in lockstep with racist white folks when it comes to this. And this would include the Nation of Islam, the Five Percenters, Afrocentrics, etc. So if you try to disabuse black folk of our ethnicity and American identity, and in some cases, unfortunately, they've succeeded in doing that with some, but not everybody. Again, uh, racist whites are singing your praises. That's what they're doing. So you think you're being revolutionary when in reality you're accommodating them. You're accommodating them. So I hope that since it appears that Beyonce has morphed some from this this Wakanda image to American image, that she stays on course with this. And anybody who knows her, I would encourage them to encourage her to stay on course. Um, and to you, black foreigners, being critical of her with that, you're way out of pocket. You are here because of the blood, sweat, and tears of Black America. Let's keep it a buck. Okay, that's reality. And let me also be clear about something. Black folks who came here, let's say from the Caribbean, way back in the day, let's say during Harry Belafonte's parents or General Colin Powell's parents, and other people who were from the Caribbean. Those folk who came here back in those times did not have this outlook that, well, America is not doesn't belong to black folk, and this flag doesn't represent black people in America. They weren't coming from that. When you hear these black foreigners now saying this, that is the result of laying in the cut or standing on the sidelines, listening to, and in some cases being told directly to their faces by some black Americans that this is not our country, this is not our flag, or you guys have more African retention than we do, all that kind of craziness. What you've done, you've helped to further embolden them in terms of their um, chauvinism, they're being the chauvinistic outlook. So I'm talking to y'all in the clouds, Mr. and Miss Foreigner. That's what has happened. But I'm telling you right now to cease and desist. You need to back off. Okay. This notion that um, uh, you are brighter, smarter, and better is insane. And if you don't get to come over here and dictate like some neo imperialist that and put black folks in America in a box. No, you don't get to do that. And the other thing is this: um, those folk who do that, again, you got that from black Americans with their reckless mouths, who clearly see you as superior to them, and who have been convinced they don't have an identity. If you tell a person, this is not your country, this is not your flag, or your ethnicity, the Afro American or African American ethnicity is useless. And I'm going to get to that soon, right around the corner, about an individual who used the term Afro American as African American as useless in reference to her own identity as well as her father's. That's a whole nother show. That's problematic. So guess what? When you're thinking and talking like that, or when those young brothers who were talking with with James Baldwin in San Francisco in 1963, you can see the show Take This Hammer, which is on YouTube. When you hear that, what they're saying, we don't have a country, we don't have a flag, brother, and blah blah this. Well, clearly they had been influenced by Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam at that time. That's who influenced them. Well, and this is 1963. So it goes back to what I said earlier. The Nation of Islam, Five Percenters, and Afrocentrics were all on the same sheet of music as it relates to convincing black folk that we don't have an identity here in America. Everybody else who's here has an identity, including black folks who live outside of these borders throughout the diaspora has an identity, but not black Americans. In fact, Elijah Muhammad would use the term so-called American Negro. You know, when you say something is so-called, mean it ain't the real thing. So-called, what just know and understand. When he says so-called American Negro, he was throwing shade on the American identity. Again, racist white folks, that has been and continues to be their talking points, that we are not Americans and that America means white. That's what that means. So that right there is a racist slash white supremacist talking points. So if you call yourself quote unquote conscious and all that kind of stuff, what you don't understand, or maybe you just don't care, that your line of thinking isn't, not only is it in concert with white folks, it's not revolutionary, it is accommodating. Not to mention, it you are a neo-imperialist. That's what you bring to the table. Accommodation and neo-imperialism. That's what you're guilty of. We're saying no more days like those. Don't bring that stuff over here. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Just because you rep the American flag, I'm talking to my people right now. Just because you rep the American flag, does not mean that you are in agreement with the ills of society and or America's foreign policies that might be problematic. That needs to be noted. It needs to be noted. Um, just like if you see other people who come from wherever they come from and they're repping their flags, and they do. See, the thing is this: you don't necessarily have to have a flag in your hand and waving it. The mere fact that you open your mouth, your disposition, your customs, etc., you're representing the flag of the country of your birth, where you were born and raised. That there's no getting around that. Why do you think when you travel outside of these borders and go other places and they can tell that you're an American? You don't even have to necessarily open your mouth. I mean, when you open your mouth, it's like, oh, this is American here. But there's like somebody hearing me right now in the clouds who's from overseas. They can tell within a matter of seconds. No, this is an American here. Not only is this an American, this is a black American talking because depending on where you grow up, you know, your accent dictates whether you grew up in a majority black, predominantly black society, community, or if it was diverse. Okay, so somebody hearing me can tell I grew up in an urban environment, and I rep that, and I wear that. That's my coat of arms. Okay, and I don't apologize for that. Lastly, this needs to be pointed out that black folk during the civil rights movement, some of them had American flags in their hands. You look at people like Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer and other lesser known people. You look at books written by Taylor Branch, Pete Seeger, and Bob Reiser. There's a book called Everybody Says Freedom, um, and it's a history of the civil rights movement in songs and pictures. Pete Seeger and Bob Reiser, and the forward is by Reverend Jesse Jackson. In those books, you will see photographs, still photographs of black folks with American flags in their hands. Couple that with film footage from the Eyes on the Prize, a great civil rights documentary, and you will see black folks in the South, whether it's Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, wherever, with American flags in their hands. And you see hostile, racist sheriff coming along and yanking the American flags out of their hands. Very hostile because it grates them. It burns their behinds. They don't like that. Okay? Because again, the sentiment is this is a white man's country. And America means white. How dare you come up here talking about you're an American? No, they don't like that. So when you go back and listen to the song, This Is My Country, again, that song by the Impressions, it affirms our nationality and our ethnicity. So in closing, I salute the representation by Beyonce on her album cover. That needs to be done more. Hopefully, this would be a great contributor to the awakening because um, this has gone far enough. Unfortunately, back in the 80s and 90s, there was this notion among people that we're not Americans. The American flag doesn't represent us and all that kind of craziness. And again, when you say all that stuff about um, America doesn't represent me, or this is not my country, this is not my flag, um, and all that, and even try to throw shade on your ethnicity. No, you've got a problem, and you're a bad influence on others, and you are saying, whether you realize it or not or whether you care or not, I don't have an identity. So I don't bring anything to the table. And then also, you are encouraged, you are shamed by being shamed and guilted. You are um, inclined, as a result of being shamed and guilty, you're inclined to hide your identity under a bushel. Well, guess what? I don't hide none of that. I'm an American. I'm a black American. I take great pride in that. And for you to come along and try to shame and guilt me, whether you are foreign or domestic, to you I say, you need to do an about face. First of all, you need to drink a tall glass of Act Right, and you need to do an about face and go and kick rocks. That's what you need to do. That's what Dr. Soul Brother is suggesting. Or you need to be laid out and or laid out on a therapist's couch and get some serious counseling because that borderlines a mental health issue. That is not normal. So with that, I'm going to end my show right now. Encourage you to hit the like button, have comments that are respectful, Dr. Soul Brother will not tolerate trolls in here. Not on my channel. There will be no trolls up in here. None. None whatsoever. If you come on here trolling, talking out the side of your neck, trust and believe, not only will those comments be deleted, you will be blocked. Period. And I have no problem doing that. So with that, you all take care. And until the next time, God bless.